Hi, it's me, Barge Delahunty. From this 22 minutes feels like an hour. I'm here at Toronto City Hall. That's the mayor's inner sanctum. I understand he's talking about busting the labor unions to pick up our garbage. I'm gonna go in there now. If I don't make it out alive, well, long may your big jib draw. Let's go.
Yeah, Doug. No, we gotta figure out a way to head off this garbage strike. No, the city can't afford another garbage strike.
He's talking about the garbage strike.
No, it can't happen. We gotta figure out a way to get these unions. No.
Mayor Ford! Mayor Ford! Mayor Ford! Barge Delahunty, from this 22 minutes feels like an hour. Are you doing some more union busting? Oh, you're talking about garbage strikes, are you now, boy? Well, every time you leave the office, you take out the garbage. Got 'em! I'm Barge Delahunty. From this 22 minutes feels like an hour, and I've sneaked into City Hall to find Mayor Rob Ford. Follow me. I think he's inside here, boy. Mayor Rob Ford, Mayor Rob Ford, where are you? Oh, smells like conservative policy making in here. Mayor Ford, it's Barge Delahunty. What are you doing? Oh, Lord Levant, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the Seven. Oh, what's that? What's that? Is that your Tory policy platform? Got him! Mayor, Barge Delahunty. Hey, you stay where you two. We'll come to where you're at. Mayor. Why do you keep running from me, Mayor? Barge Delahunty. From this 22 minutes feels like an hour. Got him! I'm Barge Delahunty. From this 22 minutes feels like an hour. And I'm actually in Rob Ford's home, the chicken coop. That's his bedroom in there. Let's go catch him unawares. Oh, Lord Thunder, he's like a beached whale, isn't he? Where's Mrs. Ford? There's trouble in the house, isn't there? Mayor Ford! Mayor Ford! It's Barge Delahunty! Mayor Ford! Oh. Mayor Ford! I gotta give you a big smooch, Mayor Ford! Oh, Mayor Ford! My eyes are up here, Mayor Ford! Look up here, that's my eyes! Got him! Hey folks, welcome to The Source. I tried to think about the scariest Halloween costume I could find, and an angry Mary Walsh hauled out one last time in her tired old shtick as Marg Delahunty, warrior princess, was about as terrifying as I could think of. I was inspired by her own tactics, her trespassing, her physical assaults, but most importantly, her complete lack of funny. I mean, here's Walsh last week doing a little trespass and assault on the mayor herself. Look at this.
One good thing about being stubborn, though, Mayor Ford, is you always know what you're going to be thinking the next day. God love you. Take care of yourself now. Didn't go that good, did it? I only came up to say, put the plug in the jug, keep the muzzle undug, and for God's sake, take the cotton wool out of his ears and put it in his mouth.
Of course, today we did what the CBC does on her shows. We just added a hell of a lot of fake laugh tracks to make it sound funnier than it was. I mean, look at how that funnies up her unfunny attack on Rob Ford's personal space. Look at this without the laugh track.
One good thing about being stubborn, though, Mayor Ford, is you always know what you're going to be thinking the next day. Did it? I only came up to say, put the plug in the jug, keep the muzzle undug, and for God's sake, take the cotton wool out of his ears and put it in his mouth.
Yeah, the laugh track really did salvage it, but not even really. So that's when the CBC falsely claimed last week that Rob Ford called 911 and told the dispatchers they were bitches. Seriously, that's the word the CBC said. I guess that part was missing from my sketch today, me blaming the mayor for swearing, which he never did. Mary Walsh isn't really a comedian. Their show, This 22 Minutes Feels Like an Hour, isn't really funny. Walsh is an anti-conservative battle axe. And it's not just an act. When Walsh is between comedy work, which is pretty often these days, she actually attends anti-conservative political rallies. The CBC doesn't hire her to do her smear jobs on conservatives despite the fact that she's a political extremist. They hire her because she's a political extremist. That's her value to them. In the CBC's political war room, she can be counted on to lay down an attack on any conservative, Stephen Harper, Rob Ford, whoever. And the boys in editing will try and funny it up later with the laugh track. There's some new news in the CBC's war on conservatives and against the Sun News Network. Well, it's not really news, just like the CBC falsely manufactured the claim about Mayor Ford swearing at people. It's not news, it's propaganda. Take a look at this costly ad that ran in newspapers across Canada over the weekend. The CBC spent hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars advertising themselves in newspapers, which is sort of funny because they actually don't need to advertise, because no matter where you are in Canada, you are forced to subscribe to the CBC on your cable package and forced to pay for it through your cable fees. And that's on top of the $1.1 billion bailout the government gives them every year. So they get access to your cable box no matter what. And they get access to your wallet no matter what. So why do they advertise? Easy. It's a way to spread around their money to their allies and punish their enemies. The CBC dumped about $20,000 on that ad in the Ottawa Citizen and even more in the Globe and Mail. And surprise, the Citizen and the Globe just happened to be the CBC's biggest defenders in the middle of this scandal involving the CBC's secret expense accounts that they refuse to reveal. I mean, no one less than the nonpartisan information commissioner says the CBC is flouting the law, but wave a few CBC bucks at the Citizen and the Globe and Mail, and it's amazing how friendly those newspapers can be. Obviously, critics like the Sun newspaper chain don't get any money from the CBC. It's a reward and punishment system. It's taking taxpayers' money from their bailout and putting it into a little political slush fund. Reward friends, demonize conservative enemies like Rob Ford and Stephen Harper and the Sun. Let's look at that ad one more time. Like I say, it's bizarre that the government broadcaster advertises it all, but what are they saying here? They're saying they're the most watched network in Canada. Well, like I say, they are forced onto every single cable box in the country by law. You can't not have them on your TV. It's illegal not to get them. And they're boasting about this accomplishment. They're boasting that they're 50% higher than CNN, a U.S. all-news channel based in the Deep South in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. We're supposed to give the CBC a medal for being more relevant to Canada than the heart of the U.S. Confederacy. But my favorite is the CBC's attack on the Sun, because that's really what this whole ad is about. Check it out. They boast that they have 6 times more viewers than we do at the Sun News Network, to which I say, is that it? Seriously, you give the government broadcaster a 75-year head start. You give them a $1.1 billion a year bailout. You force them onto every single cable box in the country. And compared to our tiny little startup, which has been on the air just 6 months, we're already that close. The fact that they're still beating us 6 months after our launch is something they're boasting about. Our entire annual budget is about 20 or 25 million bucks. That's the CBC's budget for less than a week. The ads the CBC bought this weekend alone are close to our entire annual ad budget. The CBC is seriously boasting about beating us? That's like Kramer in Seinfeld boasting that he totally beat up the other students in karate. It sounds pretty awesome until you learn that he was with a bunch of 10-year-old kids. Look, we don't get government subsidies here at the Sun. We actually pay the government taxes. We don't have forced cable carriage. We have to negotiate one cable carrier at a time. We don't get $1.1 billion a year in bailouts. Question: how many viewers do you think the CBC would have without their $1.1 billion bailout? None is the answer. They wouldn't know how to run a TV station without government money. They've never done it. Put it another way. Give us $1.1 billion a year if we were prostitutes like they are, and imagine where we'd be, even at just 6 months old. But really, let's say we accept everything in their ad. I mean, what's the point of the ad? To prove that the CBC is the biggest? Is that what they're trying to convince people? We already know they're the biggest. They are the biggest because they get free money. It's like Citibank boasting that it's the biggest bank, or General Motors boasting that it's the biggest car company. Yeah, we know that. You got the government bailout. You didn't earn it. You took our money to achieve your greatness. I think it raises a question, not just why are we giving bailout money to the CBC if they're clearly rich enough to waste it on unnecessary attack ads just boasting about themselves. Not just what do we have a government broadcaster for in the age of 1,000 channels, but if the best thing the CBC can say about itself is that it's just the biggest, is that really any reason to keep giving them the bailout money? I mean, there will always be a biggest TV station. If it's not the CBC, it'll be another one. So what? The question is, why should the CBC be the biggest? If the only reason is because it's big is because it gets $1.1 billion a year in handouts. Well, that's not really a good reason at all, is it? It's actually pitiful. That's the best thing the CBC can say about itself, or the worst thing they could say about us is that they're bigger than us. Yes, CBC, we know you're bigger. We know how you got there, not on your own merits, not by earning your viewers one at a time, but by squeezing a fortune out of taxpayers year after year. I don't hate those newspaper ads. Actually, the more I think about them, the more I like them, because they prove all the CBC is good for, being big and dumb and slow and wasteful with money. I hope those ads run every day. And I hope that every member of Parliament sees them and thinks, do these boastful wastrels really deserve another bailout this year? That's as scary as finding Mary Walsh in your bed.